So, it turns out that it is physically impossible for the Warhammer 40k community to go a day without any drama. I think it's just got to the point where they like the drama. They've just got so used to daily drama that now it's just being generated somehow, somewhere. Anytime there's a whiff, I dare say, of drama, they are on it. Now, fortunately for all of us, this is actually legitimate drama, because it turns out that there's a bit of a cheating scumbag that's been caught and punished. But there's a bit of drama about how he was caught and how he was punished. So for those of you that don't know, Frontline Gaming recently ran a big super major. It might have been the Lone Star Open. I'm pretty certain it was. And one of the people that was at the Lone, it might have been a different tournament, but Frontline Gaming ran it. And one of the people there was caught with too many points in his list. And the list, and the points, and the unit was an extra Hellbrute. This is what people are calling the Pocket Hellbrute. Because if it had been in his list, but the thing at the top said 2,000, not 2,130, and then that would be obvious, blatant, flagrant cheating. Because when you export your list from somewhere like New Recruit, for example, it'll say this is a 2,130 point list. So the only way it could have come up as 2,000 points would if he had altered that. But that wasn't the case. So, okay, that wasn't the case. So essentially, he just had his army list, and then there was a Hellbrute that turned up on the day. There is obviously an element of dodginess here, but there's also an element of could it be a mistake? Because it's competitive players, and this guy, the guy that did it, is a competitive player, goes to a lot of tournaments, and so you know the defense is he was swapping around lists, he was trying all sorts of stuff, swapping around lists, and then when he turned to the tournament, he just had sort of one list. He had basically two lists that sort of merged into his head, and so he just was like, oh yeah, this is the list I'm running. This one has the Hellbrute in it. Which I actually can understand. I actually can understand that. Because it nearly happened to me in a battle report, remember? Me and Simon were doing a battle report, and I was running the veteran squads, and I thought I had more units than I did, and I almost ran like an extra 200 points. So I can see that. I can see that. However, there is layers. There is layers to this drama. The first layer, layer number one, is that this person in question has quite a bad reputation. Supposedly, and I say supposedly because I haven't met the guy personally, but supposedly he's a bit of a nasty piece of work on the tabletop. Quite difficult to play into, somewhat abrasive personality, and I think there's also been a bit of an element of the chap maybe having been caught, I don't know if full-blown cheating before, but definitely questionable actions have happened before. So the guy hasn't got a good reputation to start with. However, I will say one thing here. I'm not making excuses. I'm not defending the guy. But where I see all of this being talked about, where I see all of this allegations of him being a piece of shit on the tabletop, is coming from Reddit. And we all know what that means. for those of you, well, to be fair, we might not all know. For those of you that don't know, Reddit is especially guilty of people talking like they know about a situation firsthand, but actually they're just passing on information that they've heard from someone else who heard it from someone else who heard it from someone else from someone else, until it basically gets sort of Reddit just fielded into existence. So Reddit is a useful tool in many ways. I mean, how many times have you needed to find an answer for something and some obscure Redditors left an answer to it on a Reddit post 7 years ago with the perfect solution to whether you're finding a bug on your PC or whatever, there's or a guide in a game, of course. But, also Reddit is definitely guilty of demonizing people and making shit up. So, having not met the guy firsthand, I'm going to stick to saying, like, allegedly and stuff, because I have no idea if this guy's a piece of shit or not. Maybe he is, or maybe Reddit's just jumping on the hate wagon. There we are. Now, drama karma farming. Exactly, Mark Talbotland. They're all a bunch of drama karma llamas. There you are. But, so that's why we're proceeding with this as possible beef, not beef beyond a reasonable doubt. So the chap has, according to Reddit, a pretty bad reputation, which obviously which is never a point in your favor when these kind of allegations get thrown around. People start saying, no smoke without fire. He's the kind of person that would do it. Blah 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 blah. Now, where things get a bit fucky. Is the person in question took to social media, including to Reddit, to defend himself. But apparently, not only did he make an account defending himself, it was an alternate account to defend himself, to potentially, muddy the waters. So there's a comment here on Reddit saying, don't forget said cheater making an account to threaten people calling out the cheating. At this point, it feels like Frontline Gaming need to ban itself if this is what's happening as a result of their inaction. And we do have a link to this account. We should have a link. We do actually have a link to this account. Let's have a look. Shall we? Let's have a look. All right, because I do not believe there's any personal information associated with this account. So there's no names here. What the hell? This seems fucky. Like real fucky. Like psycho fucky. Alright. So, here we are. Here's the account. Low application 4038. Ruling from LSO hidden in the player's apology. Can we see, what this is linked to? He's a known cheater scumbag in the SoCal comps and notorious for using position inside FLG's relationship with the FLG judges. Same as refused to clock to a player. You should tell James all this was face next time we see him. I will. He's a whittle guy to me anyway. There's too many stories of him threatening people and bullying them after games. This guy's a loser, and so is Junior. Okay. So then we have this next one. Junior has been winning GTs before working for Frontline. If you think FLG employees are scheming in an office on how to win a GT, you're mistaken. But you should tell this Junior, Frankie, and James the faces next time you see them. Who are the known cheaters on TZC? Generally curious. What's the time? Can you be more specific? Okay, cool. Don't ever go to an FLG game again. Really, I thought the thriving due to innovation, working at the solid business practice, saving comp, 40k, great events. What exactly do you mean everything they touch is awful, or are you more comfortable shooting words into Reddit? Perfect, what's your name? Maybe I can help make introductions. I don't know what James has to do with anything. Were you planning on putting hands on him in some way? Kind of weird. You just be very passionate about this, so let's make it happen. So he's trying to, like, organize... He's trying to organize a fight. And so this is all like him replying in the third person. And then we get to this comment. Hey, Bender, totally correct. I had to create this account to even see the comments. It's annoying because I've avoided this awful app for a while. Well, I promise it's not some burner account. I'm not that clever. I just think I'll see a lot of these people at future events, especially ones run by FLG. I'm not a fan of echo chair and keyboard screaming stuff, so I figured this person could tell me James personally. Could tell James personally that he was a scumbag. I don't know why Violence is mentioned. That really seems to me like the mask has slipped. Am I the only one that's reading this like the mask has slipped? Account is 4 days old. I don't know. That's weird, man. That's weird. Bro is behaving like a real hell bro, but couldn't make it up. That is a little weird. So we don't know. To be fair, we don't know for sure. But it definitely seems like, you know, it starts off. The account's only 4 days old. It definitely seems like it starts off as a... You should tell all these guys. You should tell, you know, these other people that totally aren't me. And then it's like, hey, look, it's me. Oh, wait, no shit. No, it's not. I don't know. What do we think, Chad? That seems a little dodge. Anyway, so there's a little bit of weirdness going around there. But it's not 100% clear if this is obviously... oof. Rust W. Oof indeed. Exactly. So there's definitely a little bit of weirdness going on with the potential for an alt account, which is always a bit sus, to say the least. But all of this was happening in the lead up to... All this happening after the cheating was discovered. And now the internet has kind of gone a bit crazy. Reddit's gone a bit crazy because we now have the response from Frontline Gaming. So Frontline Gaming have said that the guy, even though they believe that it was an accident, they've banned the guy for a year. So let's see if we can get the word from the horse's mouth, as it was. So basically, he wasn't banned from the event. He hasn't been banned from anything, and he's voluntarily chosen to step away from competitive player events for at least a year. Okay. All right. So I think that makes sense. I mean, Frontline Gaming probably should have banned him. The way they should have put it is he's been banned for a year. Because the problem is right now it doesn't look like they've taken any action. It doesn't look like they've done anything. It's like, oh well, we looked at it and we've like set him to like, if we think it was an honest mistake, so we've like set his score to like 0. But like that's it kind of thing. It's like maybe they should, but then that just doesn't look like much. And then you've got the fact that the guy stepped away voluntarily for a year. He definitely needs to step away for a little bit, just because it's like needs time to just let it all settle. But this is all the information that we have. This feels a little... I'm not getting 100% pure Wagyu beef. What do you guys think? What I'm getting here... Let me summarize what I see here. And I'm not taking sides. I'm not taking sides. Let me tell you what I see here based on the information that has been presented. I see a guy, I see a guy who's brought extra Hellbrute to a tournament. After it is discovered that he brought the extra Hellbrute, he has come out and said, yep, I brought an extra Hellbrute. This was a mistake. I fucked up. Reddit has gone and gone mental. And we're hearing all these stories of this guy being a dickhead, but again, it's Reddit, so it's like, is he a dickhead? Is he not? It's kind of hard. And Frontline Gaming basically going, okay, well, he fucked up, so we're punishing him by basically zeroing his score. So he's zeroed his score. And then the guy himself has been like, we're going to step away. I'm going to step away for a year. I don't want to deal with this shit for a year. And everyone's like, that's not enough. I mean, what the fuck did you... I don't know. There's no hard evidence. There's no hard beef. I'm getting beyond beef. See, it's what I was talking about. I think the Reddit and the general Warhammer 40k community has become addicted to the beef, has become addicted to the drama. This is like, it feels like kind of a nothing, not a nothing story, not a nothing story, but it feels like, oh shit, someone brought an extra thing. Oh fuck, okay, well, I mean, think about it. If it was like you, and you fucked it up, and if you fucked it up, what would you expect the TO to do? Would you expect the TO to ban you from all their events for a year, or would you be like, yeah, zero my score, mate, and I won't come for a little bit. I fucked up. It might not. You might not even. If I found out about it, like if I'd fucked up like that, I'd be like, yep, zero my score, and I'd do a video about it and go, yep, zero score. But I don't think I'd be like, step away for a year. Weirdly, the stepping away for a year, I feel like makes him look more guilty. Like he's soothing, like he's overcompensating a little bit, which I know might be like, oh, he's really damned if he does, damned if he don't. Like I get that, but like, if it was me and I had made this mistake and I got to the end of a tournament and went, fuck, I had like an extra blob of Cadians, same 120 points, right? Extra blob of Cadians. I'd contact the TO and be like, yeah, I fucked up, zero on my score. I'd make a video about the whole thing. I'd still produce the after action report, but constantly be like taking the piss out of myself, pointing, and this is the time when that unit that I shouldn't have had then helped me win the game. I'd do that, but I wouldn't like stop playing tournaments. I'd just be like, I fucked up. I won't do it again, kind of thing. So yeah, weirdly, maybe I'm the bad person. Maybe I should be like, no, I shall fall on my sword, or something like that. I don't fucking know. But weirdly, like stepping away for a year almost seems like overcompensating. But to be fair, if you're gonna step away for a year, now's the time to do it. Why? Because 11th edition will be out in a year and no one will give a fuck then. And also, this is the last year of an edition, so it always gets a bit stale. Yeah. Tactical Tortoise did a good video on it earlier today. Tactical Tortoise is great. Definitely. I'm not surprised he's covered it, and I bet he's done a really good job on it. Yeah. Maybe we should check it out. Should we get some... Let someone else give me my opinion.
Invitational tournament. I have some upcoming promotion with them, and they specifically asked me to come out to Lone Star Open to cover the event. That said, they did not ask me to make this video, and they have no oversight about the things I say within it. Now, all that out of the way, at this event...
Bro's about to lose a sponsorship.
The player James Carmona went undefeated, winning 6 consecutive games with a Chaos Space Marine Hellbrute combo list. Now, this list is actually an archetype...
Wait. Like the whole list is based around the Hellbrute? Oh no. It's not looking good.
We haven't seen for
It's not looking good.
It's incredibly powerful. Essentially, the core engine of the combo is the combination between the Pact-Bound Zealot's detachment ability, rerolls from Abaddon the Despoiler, alongside the aura of a Hellbrute. Chaos Space Marines have a rule called Dark Pact, which allow them, whenever they attack enemies, to make some damage.
We do know this bit.
It gives you extra hits if you roll a critical hit. If you play them in Pact-Bound Zealots, you can choose a Mark of Chaos, which gives you improved critical hits up to a 5+ if you choose one of those particular bonuses in a particular phase based on the mark that you select.
I just thought it was like a rando. I just thought it was like a rando Hellbrute. Like, oh yeah, shit, I had an extra Hellbrute in my list. I didn't know it was a whole thing.
It's Mark of Nurgle, which gives you enhanced critical hits if you choose sustained hits when you shoot with your guns. Now, enhanced critical hit effects affect all of your critical rules, not just the one that you're being granted from your Dark Pact, meaning that if you have anything else that triggers on a critical, that will also be improved by the Pact-Bound Zealot's ability. This includes the aura of the Hellbrute, which grants the units within 6 inches of it, both
I'm seeing it.
sustained when they Dark Pact.
I'm seeing it.
Just one. This means that a Nurgle gun platform, like a Forge Fiend, for example, can shoot 3d3 attacks, and for each one of those attacks on the roll of a 5,
lethal hits and sustained hits.
And the hits that they rolled will automatically wound, immediately progressing to a save on the target. If you do this with a unit near Abaddon the Despoiler, he can also grant you hit rerolls, which allows you to reroll any of your hits that do not critical on that 5-up, giving you about a 50-50 chance to roll out this critical combo with each of your attacks, doubling your number of hits thanks to sustained, and also granting you automatic wounds on one of those hits thanks to lethal hits. This makes a lot of the high impact
we'll do another poll after the Tactical Tortoise video.
Really effective, allowing them to destroy even things as large as Titans with relatively small guns. Dom Gerber was James's 6th round opponent, playing with him for an undefeated spot. Dom reached out to me to share his thoughts on this situation.
Okay.
An experience.
We're getting this from the horse's mouth. We're getting this boots on the ground. We are getting a witness testimonial.
It's the
Let's see.
power of this combo firsthand.
I told them that going in, I was like, man, this is the one army I didn't want to face, because those Forge Fiends single pick up like a neophyte unit with the sustained lethal. Like, that just happened 2 times during the game. And then like the Overwatch is really effective as well with the full rerolls and lethal sustained. Like, so those combos and the amount of output that the Forge Fiends have specifically, because you get the blast on each of the guns, like into Horde GSC, is tough.
Now, here's the issue, however. James's list didn't actually include a Hellbrute, a key piece of the combo that grants both the lethal and the sustained hits. I even called this out on my live stream when reviewing lists that had made it to the semifinals. What's attachment is Chaos Space Marines? Pact-Bound Zealots with Abaddon. Ooh, it's the Wombo combo.
Where's
there's no Hellbrutes. Nobody's running Hellbrutes anymore. What's happened? What's happened to this game?
Live.
I asked to James if he wanted to play on my recorded table. Players at the event were allowed the right of refusal when it comes to streamed or recorded games, and he elected not to be recorded.
Oh no. Oh no, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. So he didn't want to play on stream. I mean, like everyone, you know, some people could be like, obviously you got private people who like their privacy and stuff, but it's all circumstantial. It's all circumstantial evidence, but oh my.
In this context, it does look pretty guilty, but there are a myriad of reasons that people don't necessarily understand while they play.
I don't know.
After all, they come to these events, they're not professionals. They pay a ticket price to come and experience the event. They themselves are not being paid by the event or by an organization to come and play on coverage. Those reasons could be anything from nerves, a desire not to have to watch their out-of-game behavior while they're interacting with their opponent, or not wanting their wife to find out they are playing toy soldiers with the boys rather than on a legitimate work trip.
Or, as I have personally witnessed, they end up getting caught cheating on their wife with their side piece at a Warhammer tournament. Pre-8th edition competitive Warhammer 40k was wild. I mean, you wouldn't think that people that play with toy soldiers have got that kind of game, but they do, or they did. They do. And so yeah, I was at tournament 7th edition. Tournament TOs going around taking photos. Some dude's there with his missus, or who we thought was his missus, And turns out it wasn't his missus. And in one of the photos, he's caught red-handed, sat on a chair with a bird. You know, whilst the opponent's having his turn, with a bird on his lap.
Surprisingly, at the event, none of James's opponents noticed that he was playing with an extra piece, even though lists are publicly available to all of the...
I don't read the list. The list reads me.
Players of the event. It was only a few hours after the tournament had concluded that the error was uncovered, as some of his opponents went back to review their matchups. It was then brought up to the event judges and to James himself, who immediately took culpability for the problem and offered to retroactively drop from the event, making a public statement to FLG's Facebook group, saying, "I can't apologize enough. I found out I cheated every single one of my opponents at LSO, Lone Star Open. I played the entire event with a halberd that was not in my list, all 6 rounds. I'm not making excuses. This is completely my fault. I'm embarrassed, and it kills me to know that both my opponents and all of the other attendees were affected by my inability to put models on the table."
I mean, it's a little over the top. I'm disgusted with myself. I understand if you feel this way.
That match
it's a bit over the top.
And the same. Saying on
it's a bit over the top.
Group, following the conclusion of the Lone Star Open, it was determined that a player had
We've
included
seen
an
this.
additional model in play that was not obviously competitive and roster. Jake Jacobson is Frontline Gaming's vice president and is the team member responsible for issuing these statements. He did sit down for a discussion on the situation.
We're getting it from Frontline Gaming themselves. What the fuck is with all this wanky shit? If you get... You can't see this because of my face. Look at this wanky bullshit. What is this? If you get tired, learn to rest, not to quit. Okay. Anyway, I'm not holding that against him.
Infraction called for
I'm coming across as a dick. It's just a bit cringe.
On file, removal from the event, and 0 ITC points.
Free LVO ticket winner
for the player, in accordance to our FLG guidelines. Like
oh, I've talked over this guy. Let me try again.
On file, removal from the event, and 0 ITC points awarded for the player, in accordance to our FLG guidelines, like our event guidelines.
Oh no, not 0 ITC points. However will I cope? Not 0 of the bullshit points that get farmed by a local fucking RT and GT.
Now, there has been some concern voiced from the community that James and FLG have had a past relationship, with James belonging to Team Zero Comp, the originally California-based team that many Frontline Gaming employees were and are part of. However, according to FLG, beyond this, James has never had an official relationship with the company.
To define affiliation, just to be crystal clear, is that James is on the same team, Team Zero Comp, which there are several FLG employees, including Junior, who won the event, Frankie, which is also ownership.
I always think it's a bit sus. Not sus, sus isn't the right term. I always think... How to put this? I have won multiple tournaments. I have never, ever allowed myself to play in a tournament that I am running. I know some TOs do. But personally, I don't think you should play in a tournament you are running. Especially if there is one eligible for prize support. That's just a personal thing for me.
And myself, we have 5 employees total out of, I think the roster is...
Unless you're a buy player.
According to Frontline Gaming, the decision to handle situations like this remains solely in the hands of the judge team and is governed by their publicly available player conduct rules, which requires that a yellow card be issued automatically if a player is found to be playing with models that are not on their list. Since this issue arose in multiple games, this would result in more than 1 yellow card being issued, and as such, the player is issued a red card, which is recorded permanently on a permanent record and is required to be removed from the event. Now, what Frontline Gaming did not not elect to do, and which is unfortunate for the players involved, was rectify any of the scores of James's games. The rationale for this came from the tiebreakers that the event used. Because the Lone Star Open used multiple metrics based on opponent's performance for determining a player's final placement, changing any scores after the fact could have transformative and rippling impacts on players' final positions elsewhere.
You know, unfortunately, it happened.
It's a lot of work. We can't be bothered doing it. And I don't blame them. It's a fucking Warhammer tournament at the end of the day. It's not like life or death. But the reason they don't want to do it is because they can't really be bothered. Like, that's fine. That's fine. But, like, that's why they can't be bothered.
In the first place, very apologetic to all the attendees that it did affect to one degree or another. But given that the infraction was found, reported after the event had concluded,
it's always going to be that way. It's nearly always.
Not even just
I've only heard of it happening whilst the event is running once or twice in 10 years of playing this game competitively.
We'll go back and change and adjust scoring because of the potential of how much it could affect and alter. So, following the order of operations as to the original question as to why was nothing adjusted, what we were following within the 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth steps on how we would handle a situation like this, just period. So as far as like all the opponent scores being adjusted, it didn't affect the final 3 placings. So we ran multiple different scenarios on the potential effect on things.
Then do it.
Just to confirm what we were thinking. But because final placement, as outlined in our player packets, it's not just by battle points. It's not just by OGW, which is opponent.
If it's not going to make a difference, then change it. Change it for the people that were affected. If you've crunched the numbers, then and it's going to not affect the top 3, then do the change. It's more bother you fucking around not explaining it than just doing it.
Game win percentage. It's not just by wins losses. So in a player.
Point a little bit, if a change to scores wouldn't affect the top 3 placements, it feels like more of a reason to adjust the scores after the fact.
Yes, it does. Thank you, Tactical Tortoise. Thank you.
Event, but would instead mostly just give a bump to the players affected. And
yes, thank you.
Specific as a long-standing policy against retroactive score adjustments. The most notable example being Lone Star Open 2 years ago, which was won by the ever-controversial Will Abelez, and has been the subject of multiple videos on this channel after he was accused of multiple counts of cheating, banned from the circuit for a year, which eventually turned into a lifetime ban from the Texas Championship circuit. His placement at that event was simply changed, but his scores remained intact. However, that's not the case for other...
It seems like there's a problem. You know what? We came in here looking for... You know what? I'm just going to say it. I think there is beef here. But I don't think the beef is with one person. I think there's FLG beef. These motherfuckers keep having cheaters turning up. I did not realize that this dickhead was also rocking around Frontline Gaming shit. Whoa. I don't know. I think there's a bigger beef here. There's big beefs. What do we think? I think there's beefs.
For example, in the video that I made a couple weeks ago covering a dice cheating scandal at the ATC, American Team Championship, the player in question at that event did receive retroactive score changes, with one of their games being changed from a win to a loss. They were then replaced by a different player for day 2 of the event, who was then able to score points normally. And I'm sure we could find other examples of similar policies at other large major plus level events. Well, I don't totally agree with this course of action, especially since the scores shouldn't matter to James himself, since he's been dropped from the event and won't receive any rankings points for his position. And of course, the fact that the players that James had played are the real victims here. An improved standing would go along.
I agree. They really need to change the points. Like, they really need to change the points. And I don't know. It seems like they're having a problem. I mean, obviously it's difficult for them to control who turns up to their events, but it feels like consistently there are dickheads turning up. And maybe the dickheads keep turning up because you're not doing enough to put them to keep them away. I don't know. I'm smelling shit, boys. I'm smelling shit.
Way to rectify the corrupted results, but at least I do understand the rationale that it could then downgrade the placement of other players who were entirely uninvolved. Now, all that being said, the tragedy of this mistake is that it will cost 6 players from a fair run at the top spot. Now, the community has risen up with calls for
it's
harsher
almost gravy
punishment
now.
for games in this
The beef
case.
thickens.
But I'm gonna level with you.
All right, come on, Mr. T Tortoise. Let's see you get off the fence. Let's see you get off the fence.
It's the easiest mistake in the world to make. Accidentally playing with extra stuff in your list happens constantly, especially when players are playing a new army or they're undergoing iterations on a list. Army lists in Warhammer 40k are still relatively complex, despite the improvements the 10th edition has made on the army creation system. Over the course of creating an army list, you add and remove units and upgrades dozens of times while trying to optimize the army down to a final version, to the point that the list in your head and the one that math allows for might be totally different. In this case, I would not be surprised if James either forgot to add his Hellbrute to the army or accidentally deleted it at some point during the army creation process and simply spent the resulting points elsewhere, probably on one of the very similarly costed possessed units that he had in triplicate. But given that the Hellbrute is a core component of the combo and one whose absence is incredibly easy to spot for anyone reading the list for 10 seconds, it's pretty easy to assume that it was just still there.
To put it simply, I'd much sooner assign this issue to gross incompetence rather than malice. At the end of
I only half agree. On the one hand, I agree because who amongst us is without sin? Who amongst us hasn't made a mistake? No one's perfect. But on the other hand, and it's a big but, and it's a big other hand, I've never gone to a tournament with an extra unit. I'm not trying to put myself some paragon. Probably next tournament I go to, I will do. Such is the nature, right? You know, I've said it now it's going to happen. But I've never been to a tournament with an extra unit. I always check my lists. You know, I pack all my stuff up. I make sure I've got all the units. I get my phone out. I've got my list on new recruit, and I go through and I check everything off. I don't know. I actually think in this day and age, it's even harder to do this kind of stuff. Not easier, harder. Because you're not writing lists down on pieces of paper. It's on your phone, just bing, 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 just adding them up. And also, the one time it nearly happened to me was during a battle report assignment. And do you know what? I could tell something was off. I was doing the video, and I went, something doesn't feel right here, mate. Let me just check my points. And I checked it, and I could sense it wasn't right. I was like, I've got quite a lot of stuff here. I've got all this stuff. Do you know what I mean? Nostalgia Vivek, Apple and Glory, Tim, have you ever been to a tournament with an extra Lord Solar when taking double Shadow Sword? That's basically what he did. Yeah. I actually. No, you're convincing me. I'm being convinced. It's such a key part of the combo, you know? It's such a key part of the combo. You would check and double check, wouldn't you? See, this is one of those things that I've talked about before. People can make arguments, and be like, oh, well, X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. But then you just bring it back. You stop talking about it in abstract. You stop talking about it in theory, and you actually just talk about it in reality. And you ask yourself the question: have you ever done this? And the thing is that no, I'm not holding this guy this is the thing. I'm not holding this guy to a higher standard. I'm holding this guy to exactly the same fucking standard I hold myself to. And I don't hold myself to a particularly high standard. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just a bit autistic. I don't fucking know. It's a fuck up. It's a fuck up. And whether it's gross negligence or not, it's a big fuck up. I don't know. And, you know, we say, I don't know. And that weird alt account on Reddit, I don't know. I'm not sure. It's like if you rocked up with 20 cultists instead of 10, or with an extra 5-man legionaries, it would be different. But bringing your key combo and it's not on your list, yeah. And when I nearly did it, it was when I nearly brought an extra blob squad. So it was literally, it wasn't a key combo in my list. It was just, I had 20 more infantry than I should have done. And I didn't even, and I picked it up before the game. Yeah.
The day, Warhammer 40k is an analog game, and while we use advanced list building apps and digital play aids, there's still a huge component of human error. I don't believe for a second that an enfranchised Warhammer 40k player who has participated in the game for a long enough period of time has not made this mistake. In fact, I did it myself 3 days before the event.
Scum! Cheating scum! He's a false prophet! Some say he's not even a tortoise.
In my game on
He's
the
a turtle.
Angry Joe Show, live on stream, I accidentally added a character to my list that I had removed in a previous iteration of the army.
That does... I'm sure it was a mistake, but I definitely think that's going to be colouring his judgment slightly.
Yeah, so...
Now we're starting to be with Tactical Tortoise.
I shouldn't have the Tech Marine in there. I don't know why he was in there. I think I added him and then I added something else. So there's no Tech Marine, there's just Strike Marines, and then 10 Purifiers.
I ended up taking that character out to free up points and using them to upgrade something else. But I had still pulled it out of the cabinet and put it on the table with the intention of playing with it. In that case, I corrected...
But you caught it before you played with it.
Well, I was reviewing the lists on stream before the game, but there have certainly been games in the past where I've...
No, man. See, you caught it. You knew something wasn't right. Your subconscious brain. You've been playing this game for a long time. Your DNA told you. If this was a new player, I would get it. New players haven't got that sort of gut instinct. It's like people who handle real cash all day, even if there's a really, really convincing fake note, because they handle legitimate notes so much all the time. When a fake one comes across, they can almost instantly tell that, like, that doesn't feel right. It's a well-known phenomenon in, like, retail and, like, psychology and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's actually less excusable. You're getting this mixed up, mate. It's actually less excusable. The more experienced you are, the less excusable this is. Now, yeah, it's still a fuck-up. Yeah, it's still a fuck-up, okay? It's a big fuck-up, and yeah, Reddit's still probably blowing out of proportion, and all this kind of stuff. And no, I'm still not entirely convinced that the guy was full-blown cheating. I think it definitely stinks like shit, but it might just be legitimate shit, not diarrhea. I don't fucking know. But I'm just saying, I'm just disagreeing professionally with Mr. T Tortoise here, because I think a lot of what he's saying, it's actually inverse logic in a funny sort of way.
Missed this kind of error and had to apologize to my opponents after the fact for playing over points. It's an unfortunate reality of these types of games that bridge the digital and physical medium. Some events do require a manual list check of your opponent's list at the start of the first game. Events will basically just give you an extra 5 to 10 minutes to pull up your opponent's lists and manually check that their miniatures match the units in question. And I think this would go a long way to alleviating these issues in the future. This is just good practice anyway before each game that you play in a competitive setting. But I think allotting 10 or so minutes in order to do that would go a long way for these larger frontline gaming events to alleviate issues like this. However, beyond that, it's a very difficult problem to police. In the case that it does inevitably accidentally...
It's literally not. It's called check-in list. Tournament TOs have got very, very lazy with check-in lists. Although I suppose if it's not on the list, how do you catch it? Fair enough. Yeah, I think you do need to check lists. I think you do.
Happen, measures do
Like,
of
on the
course
day.
have to be taken.
Like
Obviously,
5
there
minutes
should
at the
be
beginning,
punishments
everyone
levied,
check the
and
list at the beginning.
Cases like these should be recorded in some sort of permanent record so that if it becomes a recurring issue, you can then consider harsher penalties in the future. However, there are community members who are calling for things like lifetime bans for something that looks to me like a mistake.
I remember finding out. I was at dinner with my fiance after round 6, and we were cheersing to 7th place. So I was like very accepting. I was like, "This is it." I had a good time. I had a good run. I had 6 good games. And then I was like, "Oh, that's like, wait, what? I don't even know what this means."
He could have made it
Seeing,
into the
like,
top.
Everything else
He could have made it into the top
has
score.
not been my favorite experience at all. The way that the community has kind of come at FLG and my opponent is not like the experience that I had at the table, and that's kind of why I wanted to like share
Keyboard
my thoughts,
Warriors.
because my experience with him was a great game. Like, I had such a nice time playing with him. He was a very charitable opponent. Like, we had common.
Oh, look at that. Someone from the horse's mouth saying that the guy isn't a dickhead. And then Reddit being like, I heard this guy fucking killed people and fucking took a shit on the table and physically assaulted. It's like...
agreements throughout the game, and I've played with like bad actors before, and that was not at all my experience at the table. And so when I see like this vitriol that's like been happening, and this like, well, it's this and this connection there and this, and I'm like, this is not at all what the situation was. And people have kind of hit the ground running with that. I mean, like,
they want the
friends of mine
drama
included, and so
they want the
like,
drama. We're all hungry for the
it's in a very
drama, but this ain't
difficult
beef
position as well, because I didn't want to like say anything until like I spoke to like a lot of the people involved, and like final decisions were made, and so I wanted to kind of hold and wait on all of that, and see kind of see where things fall as they may before I speak too soon or say something out of like frustration or anger. And I mean, I've come.
Vocal elements of the community are active.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think that's about it there. You guys should watch I've not watched the whole Tactical Tortoise video at all, but I'll put a link to it down in. I put a link to it down there. I'm gonna give you my hot take. I think there's lots of little beeflets. There's lots of little beeflets here, but this is my take. The guy fucked up. We can't. Is it cheating? Is it not? We don't know. We don't know, and we don't know. But what we can say is that he fucked up. Intentionally, unintentionally, he fucked up. Also, he should have just... So he fucked up. So the guy who did it, he fucked up. Frontline Gaming fucked up. Frontline Gaming shouldn't have just put this guy to bottom place. That doesn't mean diddly dick. It doesn't mean diddly dick putting this guy to bottom place. They should have retroactively changed his scores, put the legwork in, and if it wasn't going to affect the top 3 places, then they should have fucking done it. So Frontline Gaming fucked up a little bit here. Reddit definitely fucked up. I'm sorry, but Reddit... I said it at the beginning. I knew. How did I fucking know, boys? How did I fucking know? I said people are hungry for the beef. They're looking for it. Any opportunity for there to be more drama, llama, karma. That's what Reddit is going for right now. And guess what? They did it. So Reddit fucked up here as well. They're too hungry for the win. They're too hungry for the beef. And that's it. It's basically just a trifecta of fuck-ups, making, quite frankly, a mountain out of a molehill. That's my hot take. I haven't got beef with one person. I'm not taking sides. I'm beefing everyone. I'm on my side. Yeah. There's multiple layers of beef here. I'm beefing everyone. Except Tactical Tortoise. I was only joking. I did disagree with some of his like analyses and takes, like on the situation, and but that was more just an opinion thing and a professional thing rather than anything else. You know, still mad respect for him, and I still believe he is a tortoise and not a turtle or a terrapin. But yeah, that's my hot takes, boys. I think, you know, looking at the guy. Looking at the guy who did it, James, or whatever he's called. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of sus. There's a lot of sus there. Like I wouldn't have made that mistake. Well, I haven't made it up until this point in my career. Who knows? There's still time. You know, we've seen. You know, I think you know, an experienced player, you should kind of be able to sort of gut instinct. This feels slightly off, especially over like 2 days and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. But I definitely think there's a lot of susness that can be thrown that way, but I just don't think there's quite enough. It's, you know, like, put it this way. It's not the same as that, you know, the other guy, William Albilez, whatever it's called. He turned up to a tournament with homemade data sheets that he'd forged in Photoshop. He was like, I won't buy a codex from GW, so I just print them out. I just printed them out. And everyone's like, oh, okay. Like, do you know what I mean? That's a level of cheating. That's beyond reproach, beyond reproof, beyond doubt. Do you know what I mean? That's cut and dry, all that kind of stuff. This is not, to me. There's a fuck up. I don't know if it's an intentional fuck up or not, but this is, you know, this is a fuck up. And a pretty big one. But I think this is a fuck up which has been drama-llamed by Reddit. And then I think Frontline Gaming has basically been a bit lazy. That's it. That's it. That's what I think it is. Yeah. And I think it's so funny. I think it's so funny that you've got all these people on Reddit going on about how this guy's a dickhead. And then you've got someone that actually played the guy and was like, he was totally fine. He was totally fine. No issues, no worries. You know, Reddit never change. I'm not trying to make this about me. But it was just like when the Tower community and I beefed. You know, I started that beef. I'm not going to lie. I started that beef. You know, I talked some mad shit. But you had the Tau, you know, but it was such a disproportionate response. I had the Tau community coming. I mean, I could did a whole video about this. The people on the Tau subreddit, Reddit again, wasn't the whole Tau community. It was just the Tau subreddit. Reddit again, saying that I was an Asian-hating racist, that I was a fascist, that I was a Nazi, that I was a nonce, which if you don't know what that means, kiddie fiddler. All these people saying all these things about me. Oh, you know, and you just see these people. They're just lying. They're just either they're repeating shit that they've heard somewhere else, and it just gets amplified. You know, every time the story gets told, it gets exaggerated a little bit more, or they're just flat out lying because they want to look good, so they're just lying. That's it. That's the problem. At this point, if Reddit says someone's a dickhead, I presume the opposite, unless there's serious evidence to the contrary. Serious evidence. Yeah, I used to like Reddit. Now, I see someone saying something and I'm just like, I know you're wrong. Yeah. Kian, you've no idea, man. You have no idea. Mad shit. So yeah, my take on this, let's see what the poll says. My take on it, we've had a bit of a flash poll. Yeah, everyone, results of the poll. 11% say FLG deserved the beef, 13% say the supposed cheat deserved the beef, 19% say Reddit deserved the beef, and 55%, which knowing YouTube polls won't add up to the right amount, say that everyone deserves the beef. I think there's beef all around, but it's all minor beefs. It's all minor beefs. Yeah. All right. You know what? I'm sick of these motherfuckers. You know what? This is my beef. I'm sick of these motherfucking Redditors and the motherfucking drama. Either you've got the goods or you don't. Okay? This is like the second or third time. This is the second or third time where like I've been hearing about beefs. I've been hearing about dramas. I've been looking on Reddit like, oh my God, what the fuck's going on? This is crazy. And then we drill down into it. We actually get the facts of the case as near as damn it. And I'm left blue-balled. I'm left unsatisfied. When someone says there's drama, I want drama. I want beef. And I'm getting sick of these chiclets. I'm getting sick of this fucking beyond beef. I need proper beef. Reddit. I'm not covering. At this point, anytime this kind of stuff happens, if it turns out that Reddit's taken out of context, I'm just going to say they're at fault. I'm just going to say that it's their fault. That's it. There you go. That's it. Reddit, if in doubt, because of Reddit, because of what they've done, my go-to policy now is to assume it's Reddit's fault until otherwise proven. If Reddit says someone's guilty, I'm going to assume they're innocent until otherwise proven. There you go. There you go. God damn it. Sort your shit out, Reddit. Come on. Anyway. That's just like my opinion, man. But of course, all of this is just like my opinion, man. If you're watching this live, let me know what you think down in chat. If you're not watching this live, let me know what you think down in the comment section. There you go. All right. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Redfield, 32, Jurgens, Miasma, Try Again, Bragg, RJ, Scorpion, Bonbon Vert, Lord Pryor, Nicholas Walsh, John Stubbs, Guardian, Varney, Sword, Fish Trombone, Picklock, The Forged. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.